I know I'm probably the only thing between you and a drink, and your ears are full of different dialogues around conservation. The idea of man and animals, one. Gloria just said, how many of us know how many animals died in the fires that just took place in Australia? Does someone want to take a guess? Can you imagine what would happen if 1 billion people vanished from the face of this earth because of the coronavirus? We wouldn't have the same response as we have to the bushfires. We have approximately, I think, 3,000 people dead from the coronavirus right now, give or take. More?
Yeah.
How much of an alarm have we had on the entire planet for that? It's pretty much on somewhere between red alert and, oh my God, I don't want to touch your hand anymore. Now, I come from a world that supports life of every form, starting with us. And I'm a firm believer that in order to conserve the planet, it has to begin on the inside. In order to have real impact on the outside world, which is life on land, you have to have inner transformation. And I don't think any of you here don't do your inner work, but we often shield from what I think is the most important part of our inner work, which is the ego. And I feel like ego has driven us to destroy the world we live in by creating the world we want. Right? So we look out there right now, there's an extraordinary world out there. We have technology, we have everything we need to serve form of life that serves humanity. But I don't think it serves the planet. I don't think it serves the animals. Imagine if in one click, God decided, just like the coronavirus, to give every animal the same level of consciousness we humans have. What do you think would happen to us if a lion all of a sudden could think like we do? If an ape, we've seen this in movies like, who have seen Rise of the Apes over here? Right, we've seen it. And if that ever happened, right, we would have a completely different worldview of how to treat animals. And I think what I'm trying to say here is, this is the African Symposium. And there's a beautiful proverb that I learned in Africa. It said that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that's something that we're very bad at here and now. Because if you look at the world, we're boiling the oceans. We're making life on land suffer at a rate that they don't even have control over. We're literally seeing species go extinct in a way that we do not have any care or concern for the true well-being of life on land. So I would say the most important thing here and now is for us to really start to do more of the inner work that is necessary, not just as human beings, as individuals, but as communities. See, the truth is, when a community actually gets together and decides to make a law, it serves the entire planet. When a person does that, they often have to become a Mahatma Gandhi or a Malala or a Greta Thunberg before anyone even notices. More often than not, you see action take place on that community level. And that can spread to a national level. And that can spread to a world level. A friend of mine wrote a book called OMD, One Meal a Day. When I first saw it, I thought, oh my God, this will make me get back into the best shape of my life. And I went up to her and asked her to sign it. And then I realized the thesis behind the book. And she said, no, I don't want you to eat 1 meal a day. I want you to sacrifice 1 meal a day to be just vegetarian. That doesn't have an animal on the plate. And that way we will not only reverse climate change, but we'll also save the lives of so many animals that are endlessly suffering a slaughterhouse continuum that we've created. Now, I felt so much pain after that meeting with her, because for the first time in my life, I was reminded that I'm one of those perpetrators. You see? And there's a continuum where there's the perpetrator, collaborator, victim, and the bystander. And then I also realized that, my God, not only am I a perpetrator, but I'm also a bystander. And then I made a pledge to myself that I will make sure that I go from being a perpetrator to activating to become a guardian angel, which is when the bystander becomes a guardian angel, because the bystander actually has a lot of power. They're kind of like the fulcrum of any movement, right? And if we want to save the victims, which are the animals in this case, we all have to stop being bystanders. So on that note, I would love to frame this in a way that there's an extraordinary woman that's coming on stage. And there was a movement we started at the UN last year called First Woman. And the initial idea behind First Woman was to put First Woman on the moon by 2024. But I really believe that women as a force for good, as a force of nature for the future, would be able to really reverse a lot of the problems we face here and now with conservation. One of the reasons I believe this is because they are mothers, and they understand life intrinsically from being a mother, from a maternal instinct. So what I would say is, for us here and now, we've heard about exponential technologies, we've heard about all sorts of different policies and things that are being done in the world. Really just the most important thing that we can focus on for here and now is just to commit to not being a bystander in situations where you can make a difference. And I'm not saying you have to go out and stop eating meat. You can, it's probably not sustainable to some people, but I do think you can start by just looking at where you can make a difference in your life. I do that for myself, whether it's at the high towers of the UN or in the slums of Mumbai. I try to make a difference in every single place I touch with my work. So that's my message to you guys, and I would love for you all to join me. We launched something called We the Planet, which is about we the people, but it's something larger than us. It's about we the planet. And I believe that here and now we have to go above and beyond ourselves and look at the planet as something that gives us everything we have as a gift. And really, this is the decade that we can make the difference. This is truly the decade, not just because the global goals are going to end in 2030, but because science, as well as I think our intuition, is telling us that we're starting to see the signs of it's going to get a little too late pretty soon. And the coronavirus is just the beginning. I mean, if that's Mother Nature's way of telling us we have to wake up, I hate to say when Mother Nature really wakes up, because really speaking, more than the world, we need to come and have peace with the wildlife, with nature, with Mother Nature in the world. And so I would really invite you all to just do your part. Be good stewards of the planet. That's what I do every day in my life. And with that, I'd love to invite and thank our curator for the day, Adey, who deserves a massive applause. It is the first time, what I do is I'm a curator, and the first way of getting people to take action is to create awareness. And these summits are about awareness. And the awareness that we can give you here and now with all these perspectives is what you should leave with. And really make yourself, the exponential leader that you don't just leave a great planet for your kids, but you leave an extraordinary generation of extraordinary citizens for the future of the planet. So with that, I'd like Adey to say a few words. I'll state it.
Hello, my name is Adey Hailu. I'm the founder of African Symposium and also the organizer of this conference. I want to first start by thanking every single one of you in this room for coming here and making my dream come true, really, of hosting an event about something that I really, really care about and that I'm very passionate about, which is animals. Yes, so you're all compassionate people, obviously that's why you're here, and I really appreciate you. So African Symposium is a full-service event planning company that focuses on Africa and the Sustainable Development Goals. After this, I'm planning to launch this in Africa, as well as, next year we'll do another one here, but we'd also like to do it in different countries in Africa. As you can tell, I'm a conference producer, I'm an event planner, not a speaker, so bear with me. I normally don't go on stage, but so I quickly want to tell you the inspiration behind doing this conference, and those are two individuals who are no longer alive, Michael Warike and Hezi Shoshani, an Israeli man who did a lot of work in Ethiopia and Eritrea on elephants. He's also not alive, but they were very, very inspirational because, and I think I wanted to really bring up their names because I felt like they were being forgotten even though they did such amazing work. And I feel I would like to challenge you when you go home to Google them, and if you don't already know about them, and keep their memories alive. The other one that I didn't mention is Michael Warike. He's a Kenyan man. He was the rhino man who used to walk from Mombasa to Kenya by foot just to educate the community around about the fact that killing rhinos is really it's not serving you and why they shouldn't do it. In the end, they were both had very tragic deaths, but I think we could keep their memories alive. But I also wanted to say that we have a very, very special guest today. She's right here, Francine LeFrak from Same Sky Foundation, who is an organization that does amazing work in Rwanda with women. And I think I'm not going to do too much. I want her to come up here and say a few words about their organization.
Hi everyone, I'm Francine LeFrak. This is Jill Abrahams, who's the head of the Same Sky Foundation. And I see Gloria in the front, which is why I'm here. But I want to tell you a happy story. A story that started 12 years ago when my journey took me to Kigali, Rwanda, where I met women who had survived the Rwandan genocide, who literally had been raped and were HIV and had no means of support and were planning their death. And I got this idea that what could I do, and I knew I was always good as a producer, as a movie producer, but I was always good with having taste in jewelry, and I saw that the women were amazingly talented with their hands. So I started a jewelry company called Same Sky, the idea that we're all under the same sky, we see the same stars and the same moon, and we have the same dream. So this necklace and this bracelet were made by these women artisans, and their life totally changed by giving them a job. Because for me, the greatest philanthropy is a job, not a handout. And every bead represented hope for a woman who had very little. Take Clementine, who was not only couldn't read or write, but couldn't, had terrible HIV numbers. Once she started to work, her life was transformed. She opened a bank account, her kids slept on mattresses, she even gave birth to a non-HIV baby, learned how to read and write, and now she works in a collective, and she has a life full of purpose, and she has safety in her community because she has respect. But working with these women taught me that what am I going to do? Now, when you go outside, you'll see a table of the jewelry that was made by the women. And I was helping at the time 200 women, and I started to sort of say, wait a minute, I want to help more. How can I multiply this effect? How can I scale this business? And I realized it was through business training and education. So we started working with the women to train them. And you probably can't see this, but it helps me. So I didn't have to send them beads from America, and I didn't have to come up with designs. They could make their own baskets and bags. And it's such a happy story because they started selling them to Target, to Bed Bath & Beyond, to West Elm. And now 600 women are running businesses and making more money than when I was paying them to make jewelry. So I think they deserve a round of applause. So they even started their own credit union, and we even trained Burundian refugees in refugee camps in Rwanda, and right now we're training Congolese refugees in refugee camps in Rwanda to be self-sustaining, to get out of the refugee camps, to find homes, but now they can earn a living. So that's one part of what we do. The other part of what we do is this amazing school in Rwanda called the Fawe School, and we've supported 50 students to get scholars at the Fawe School. And these girls were at risk because they didn't have enough money to pay to go to school. And they're studying science and math and farming techniques and technology, and they're in the medical profession. A number of them want to be neuroscientists, and they're amazing girls. And I'd like to actually read you something that one of them wrote to me just the other day. She said, "My name is Mutesi Joyce. I'm 23 years old in the third year university and a Same Sky Scholar at the University of Rwanda School of Agriculture. I'm in crop science department studying crop science and forestry. I'm so grateful for the support and chance given to me by the Same Sky Foundation. Same Sky Foundation is a godsend in many ways. I had dropped out of the Fawe School because the school fees were too high, and I had no hope of getting sponsorship. My parents are peasant farmers, and they have a lot of children to take care of. I have absolutely no idea how I could graduate from high school and study in the university and achieve my dream of being an agriculturist specializing in crop science. I didn't know how I could do this. When I was accepted into the scholarship program, it felt like the door to my future opened, and I worked hard to achieve highly academically. At the university, I've been excelling in academics, and this year I'm set to graduate first in my class. Studying at the university with the Same Sky Scholarship has been invaluable to me and offered many lessons, skills, a pathway, and a community that has helped me to define, understand, and focus my goal to become a leader and a scientist. Currently, I'm a student leader at the university and carry my leadership experience to my community in advocating for women's rights and girl empowerment, and also transfer my agricultural knowledge and experts to farmers to help them grow food production. Thank you, Same Sky Foundation, and I encourage you to continue supporting more impoverished girls in Rwanda to achieve their dream in education. So